Hello my friends, so this is Lilokin. So I'm just going to do a quick rant and answer a viewer question of mine, so stick around. So the viewer's question was, "Hi Lilokin, I have a story for you. I used to work with some Wiccans and we would talk about magic and all manner of witchy things. They seemed very accepting at first, but as we got to know each other, some of the employees' attitudes towards me began to change. They sensed that I was a little different than they were. I was a little slower than the others and got distracted more readily than the other employees. Though they thought I was intelligent, they knew I was somehow different. I am, and I have always been, singled out by others for being different. While some of the Wiccans were absolutely wonderful and loving with me, a few were quite cruel. One of them was a third-degree Gardnerian high priest. The mean ones told me that I could never be a witch because of the way I was, and I didn't deserve to be initiated because anyone who has some form of disability has a bad soul from previous karma and can't progress spiritually. They actually said that. It was constant abuse. It crushed me emotionally at the time. But now I have come to understand that what they said isn't true, and those people's ideas were not representative of Wicca at all. Gardnerian or otherwise. I do have questions for a video though. Are disabled people barred from initiation? Have other disabled people experienced similar attitudes in Wicca? Do I have a bad soul? Thanks and blessed be." So this concept that people who have disabilities come from a bad soul or bad karma, I don't believe that. I do not believe that. It's kind of like blaming the victim. And we all have things that we struggle with. Some of us have a lot of stuff that they have to struggle with just to kind of get by, and then other people, we don't have that much to struggle with, but we have our own struggles. Everybody has different levels of struggle that they have to get through in order to just live day by day. And physical disabilities can be very obvious, and we understand physical disabilities. Mental disabilities are a little more difficult because they're not obvious. People who have mental disabilities, it's really difficult to see that because it's not apparent. Yet it is a struggle that a lot of people struggle with, and people don't really quite understand. Like if somebody really struggling with a mental disability, it can be just as debilitating as somebody who doesn't have the use of their legs and has to use a wheelchair. It is the same amount that they have to overcome. It's just different. And people with mental disabilities, it's just we don't see that, whereas physical disabilities, we do see it. Some groups that may be concerned about accommodating somebody with a physical disability, but for the most part, it can be accommodated. There's ways you can work around stuff. There's always a way to do that. Covens, groups, circles are very special, very unique. And really, it can come down to you're just not a good fit for it, or you are not a good fit for that group. You kind of learn that automatically, but to just kind of say, no, you're never going to be in a group, you're never going to be in a coven, or you're never going to be a witch, period. Who knows? Who knows that? Who has the right to say that? But as for a particular group or a circle, yeah, sometimes it can come down to it's not a good fit, and it's just not going to work out, and it's just best to kind of just find another group that you'll fit into, and it can go vice versa. A group can really want you, but you don't feel comfortable in that group for whatever reason, and you can maybe find another one. It's a very personal thing. So, if there is a legitimate reason or what appears to not be a legitimate reason, yeah, it probably hurts in the beginning, but brush it off. You'll get over it, and, it's probably for the best. Now, as for kind of like victim blaming, I don't believe in victim blaming. There's, we all have our struggles, and it doesn't mean that people who struggle more lived a bad life or have bad karma or a bad soul or whatever. It just means that they have more of a struggle than someone else. Lastly, are disabled people banned from initiation? Again, I don't believe that there's no hard and fast rule that people who are disabled are barred from initiation. I think it can be a little different with people who have mental disabilities. There are, if you have a mental disability and you are not aware of it, and maybe you are not taking medication for it, that can be difficult, because in a coven group setting, you can experience things that can be hard on the mind. There's trance states, ecstatic states. There are possibly even phobias that can come up. There are many different things that can come up in a circle setting that somebody with certain mental disorders probably isn't the best thing for them. And the group is not prepared to be able to, if somebody does have an episode, they're not really prepared for it. So it's difficult. It's very difficult to assess who is right for initiation, who's not right for initiation. It really depends upon the group, or ultimately the high priestess if it's a Wiccan coven. And for any other group, it can be a group decision, maybe even an individual decision, and that can be tough. But ultimately, if you have a desire to practice something, I think you should just go ahead and practice it on your own. If a group isn't going to accept you, practice on your own. There's nothing. If you have the desire to practice whatever it is you want to practice, let's say Wicca, if you have a desire to practice Wicca, then do it. No one can stop you from practicing it. Nobody has the right to stop you from practicing. The truth of the matter is, the reason why I'm a Wiccan is because of my own choice. I don't need anyone around me to approve of me or tell me that I can be a Wiccan. I am one. And my whole reason for being a Wiccan is to worship the old gods and to practice the way that I practice. And it doesn't matter if I'm around a group to do that or I'm by myself. It's just what I want to do. And that's what it comes down to. So, anyhow, thank you for your question, Tubal Flex God, and I hope that answers your question. So, thank you and blessed be.